Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlinson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we start, I would like to draw your attention to what I can offer you as a master coach. I can help you to focus on your why with clarity, uniting your passion with your purpose with a plan to create the life you truly desire. Book a free 20-minute coaching call right now via calendly.com/Amy Rowlinson/call, and we can take it from there. Hello and welcome to episode 411, my 66th Reflections with Actions solo episode, where I take the opportunity to review what the last 5 guests have shared on the show. First though, a little snapshot of what's been going on since my last solo episode. On the 6th of June, the 80th anniversary of D-Day was marked, holding profound significance in honouring the bravery and sacrifice of those who fought to liberate Europe from Nazi tyranny. This pivotal moment in World War II demonstrated extraordinary courage, strategic brilliance and international cooperation. Commemorating D-Day serves as a powerful reminder of the immense costs of war and the enduring importance of freedom, unity and peace. It also educates future generations about the historical events that shaped the modern world, ensuring that the legacy of those who fought and fell is never forgotten. Having spent the last year writing my book, ensuring that the legacy of my grandfather is also not forgotten, I've been fully immersed in the events of World War II, particularly viewed from the lens of a prisoner of war. On the 6th of June 1944, my grandfather had spent 4 years as a prisoner of war, and in hearing the news of the D-Day landings, he would have experienced a mix of emotions. His scrapbook entry shares his immediate reflections on hearing the news, whilst he was in the midst of writing a play. The D-Day news would have been a powerful catalyst, blending optimism with apprehension, deeply influencing his morale and outlook on his eventual fate. He would have been concerned about potential retaliation and increased brutality in response to the landings, which would have conflicted with immense feelings of pride in the efforts and bravery of the Allied forces taking part in the invasion. The reality was that my grandfather and his fellow prisoners of war would go on to spend another year of captivity before they were released, so he would have been right to doubt liberation was imminent. D-Day's significance as a turning point in World War II showcases the enduring values of international cooperation, the fight for freedom, and the importance of human rights, all of which are relevant in the world today. Modern conflicts and advancements in technology have transformed the nature of warfare and global relations. Yet the legacy of D-Day underscores the necessity of unity and vigilance in preserving peace. Remembering D-Day helps reinforce the lessons learned from history, promoting a commitment to prevent future conflicts and uphold global stability. What lessons did you take from D-Day that are relevant to living with purpose today? In other celebrations, my husband and I celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary in June, and both kids have now returned from university for the summer, which is fabulous having the house full again. On the 5th of July, the UK saw a change in government, and also I celebrated a milestone of 300 days sober. My book cover has now been finalised, and I'm eagerly awaiting to hear back from a few people on what they think of the book, and who will hopefully supply me with some early endorsements, which I can include in the actual hard copy. I have secured a venue for my book launch in October, which is the Victory Services Club, a really fitting venue. And I'm now moving forward planning that event, as well as looking for a new house. So all in all, there has been a lot going on in the Rowlinson household. Isn't that just the reality of life? So let's dive into today's Reflections with Actions, starting with episode 406, Strategic Gender Balance with Coleman. Cathy spent over 3 decades delivering transformative change programs on behalf of Capgemini, Deloitte and Ernst Young. Conforming to the traditional masculine characteristics of leadership took its toll, and Cathy suffered a severe health scare. Inspired by her own journey and recovery, Kathy now champions a paradigm shift that allows women and men to embrace their feminine leadership traits and find success, happiness, and well-being from a more balanced and authentic place. Does your workplace view challenges as growth opportunities? Do you think achieving gender balance in organisational roles and behaviour is essential for business success? Well, after her health crisis, Kathy shifted from a just get on with it mindset to valuing the vital role of emotional intelligence and gender balance in thriving organisations. Through her work in gender balance and corporate transformation, Kathy emphasises the importance of balanced leadership traits for success, happiness and well-being. Challenging the status quo and redefining workplace dynamics to foster a more fulfilling professional life, Kathy pioneers a different approach to gender balance, one that delivers transformational change for individuals, organisations and bottom-line profit. Passionately advocating for gender balance, she emphasises the value of individual traits irrespective of gender. She discussed her innovative work in creating gender diversity questionnaires to measure imbalance and its profound impact on the organisational dynamics. Highlighting the considerable benefits of gender balance and leadership, Kathy sheds light on varied company attitudes towards gender diversity, from supportive to resistant. Our conversation also touched on the deeper societal issues, such as how women have been conditioned to distrust their bodies, an idea influenced by industries that profit from women's insecurities. Kathy and I underscored the importance of trusting one's intuition and feelings as a guide to our actions, aiming for a transformative workplace where both men and women thrive. Kathy reflected on her legacy and the critical balance between masculine goal-oriented energy and feminine purpose-driven energy. She shared the life-altering realization she had during her health scare and how it reshaped her professional and personal life to focus on purpose and fulfillment. This episode encourages you to think differently about gender balance, self-worth, and the importance of personal responsibility in creating a more inclusive and balanced organisational culture. So what do I pick on to highlight from all these different areas that Kathy raised? All are so important. However, there is one theme that courses through all these areas, and that's inextricably linked to taking personal responsibility for your health, your work, your future. In Kathy's case, it took a heart attack before she took responsibility for her own future and fully understood the considerable strain she'd been putting herself under in her work. Kathy, sadly, is not alone. Employees are reporting a decline in their mental health with increasing levels of stress. Additionally, only 34% see themselves as thriving at work and in life, with 8% suffering and 58% struggling. This research is from Gallup's State of the Workplace Report 2024. Would it surprise you that a staggering 77% of the global workforce are either actively disengaged or not engaged at work? Well, Gallup's report estimates that low employee engagement is costing the global economy $8.9 trillion or 9% of the global GDP. What's the implication of these levels of disengagement and of those struggling or suffering at work and in life? Low engagement costs on the global economy are enough to make the difference between success and a failure for humanity, as John Clifton, CEO of Gallup, said in last year's 2023 report. So let's shift the focus to what's working for the 23% of the global workforce who say they are engaged in their work. What do they have in common? They have managers who focus on the common goal, mission and purpose, take the time to listen, guide, nurture and teach them, build great relationships with them and their teams to work collaboratively in a less hierarchical structure, give them autonomy to make decisions, care about their future, valuing and recognising their efforts, focus on growth, progression and solutions, identify and develop their gifts and talents, and establish a culture of understanding. Of all the 10 regions studied, Europe ranks the lowest with only 13% engaged at work and also holds the lowest regional percentage of employees who say they're watching for or actively seeking a new job. The UK ranked 15 out of 38 countries in Europe in terms of thriving at work and in life, and it ranked 2 with those surveyed experiencing daily sadness. So what's the solution? Assign the responsibility to leaders and managers to improve the global workforce health, well-being and productivity levels? Gallup's 2024 report states that while managers may be more engaged and thriving in life, they're more likely to be stressed, angry, sad, lonely, and worried than non-managers, often needing the most support with their mental health and well-being. So no, this is not the only solution. As purpose sits at the core of a company's strategy to provide a more unified business, knowing how to assign meaning to everyday tasks is critical to shifting the dial from low to high engagement at work. Therefore, I believe each individual needs to take responsibility for improving their engagement levels at work, to make their work more meaningful, and to focus on how to improve their own health and well-being. Improvement in these areas means higher productivity will naturally ensue, as well the company's profitability. To ensure she prevents others from reaching the same point she did, ending up in hospital with a heart attack, Kathy's poignant message is that she'd been ignoring happiness in her pursuit of money. But understand that status, reward, and achievement are no match for purpose, fulfillment, and self-worth. Taking personal responsibility is your first step. Identifying how to shift the dial is the next. This is where I can help. If you need help on improving your work engagement, reach out to me today. Use the link in the show notes. Let's work to move that dial across the globe from disengagement to engagement and from struggling to thriving at work and in life. Are you taking responsibility for your engagement in life? Next up is 407 Essence of Life with Riccardo Sai. Riccardo is a passionate storyteller, director and creative producer with Italian roots, now based in London for over 2 decades. With a background in art, cinema and philosophy from Bologna and a master's degree from the London Film School, Riccardo has lent his creative vision to award-winning projects across films, documentaries, commercials and photography for notable clients like Nike, Microsoft, Nivea and the BBC. Riccardo strongly believes in the ability of impactful stories to educate, transform, connect and heal. By collaborating with like-minded partners, he hopes to produce work that contributes to a fairer, healthier, happier world. Have you ever pondered the dynamic force of life or the profound beauty amid challenges? Riccardo dives deep into these themes, exploring how nature, storytelling and purposeful living intertwine to inspire and drive change. Riccardo discovered the significance of crafting meaningful connections, especially in testing times. He shares his evolving journey from renaming his company to supporting ethical, value-driven and purpose-led brands, all while capturing the transformative essence of life. As a multifaceted visual storyteller whose work transcends simple definitions, he's an artist and creative who brings stories to life through various visual mediums. He's a director and photographer thriving on the challenge of capturing moments and narratives in compelling ways. He's also the founder of a visual storytelling studio where he continues to explore and define his craft. His journey is an evolving tapestry of creativity, weaving together his diverse roles and talents into a cohesive and impactful artistic vision. This conversation was in itself a visual story. Riccardo has an extraordinary ability to find beauty and life even in the most challenging circumstances, such as cancer. Inspired by his family roots and lessons from nature, Riccardo's work transcends traditional boundaries, capturing moving stories through film and photography that inspire change and deep connections. In this episode, he shared his philosophy on happiness and perfection as being ongoing journeys, the significance of living with purpose in the present, and the transformational impact of the hero's journey. He shared his reflections on disconnection, his inspirations drawn from the natural world, and his commitment to creating meaningful, immersive experiences that resonate with audiences on a profound level. It was a conversation rich with wisdom, creativity, and an unwavering optimism about the dynamic force of life. Several lines Riccardo shared really resonated with me. Embrace your beauty. Embrace your perfection. Look at the beauty outside of you. Life is a beautiful gift. Life is transformation. Keep shifting the lens of how you see life. Riccardo spoke of the wide-angle lens and also of the macro lens, and of moving from one to the other to shift your perspective, to focus on all that is inside and outside of you simultaneously. These thoughts together, for me, form a powerful way of life. First, it's about recognizing that you start with yourself and to understand and recognize that throughout life you transition from one stage to another, that life is a constant stream of shifts and moments are all inextricably linked. Recently, I had 3 different coaching conversations with people about what they needed to consider to transition with relative ease into their next phase of life. In all 3 cases, the conversations were revolving around planning for retirement. In each case, this was seen from a very different lens, and each held entirely different perspectives. So while they were all facing the same transition, each meant very different things to them. Preparing for retirement involves more than financial planning. It's about embracing new roles, maintaining meaningful connections, and creating a legacy as you face shifts in your daily routines, social networks, and personal identity. It's essential to prepare mentally and emotionally for these changes. Creating a sense of purpose and meaning is crucial during this period, as it can profoundly impact your fulfillment and overall well-being. Purpose and meaning provide a framework for you to engage in activities that bring joy and satisfaction, whether through volunteering, pursuing hobbies, spending quality time with loved ones, or even engaging in consulting or non-executive directorship roles. Having a clear sense of purpose can prevent feelings of aimlessness or loss that can sometimes accompany retirement, which lacks clarity and a plan. Your legacy is another important aspect to reflect on in terms of the impact you wish to leave behind, whether through family, community involvement, or contributions to a particular cause. This reflection guides your actions and choices in retirement, ensuring that your life continues to have significance beyond your working years. Ultimately, planning for retirement may need to happen far earlier than you realise. How ready are you to retire? What does retirement even look like? If you want to discuss what's involved in planning your purposeful retirement, book in a call with me via the link in the show notes. Riccardo works with a canvas that evolves, where every shadow and light tells a story of constant change and transformation. Embracing change allows you to see beauty even in the most challenging of circumstances, like when you face serious illness. It's about understanding that your life, like the mountains, is in constant flux. Transformation lies at the very core of storytelling. Every story worth telling involves a journey, often starting from a place of comfort, moving through trials and tribulations, and culminating in newfound wisdom. Your life is your story. Your story is your life. This is the essence of life. Next up is episode 408, Spaciousness with Clare Foley. Clare has worked in demanding, deadline-driven roles for over 16 years, and her experience ranges from industries as diverse as garden design to IT. Her interest in personal development began as a way to manage the demands of working in high-performance teams, and developed that knowledge when she trained as a coach, qualifying in 2020. She now coaches men and women to achieve more with less stress and provides training services to organisations to improve performance of busy teams with a focus on well-being. Do you ever find yourself living just for the weekends? Ditching the perfection trap and unpacking societal pressures, Clare demonstrates the power of embracing vulnerability and authenticity. Her transformative journey and shift of mindset to personal growth led to a life filled with purpose, peace, and calm. How to find joy in daily moments and key insights on managing busyness will inspire you to rethink your approach to life. If you desire more joy and meaning in your everyday life, get ready to create a life of spaciousness. Now, spaciousness is a word that needs no real explanation as to its power and effectiveness. However, it's not one that is readily adopted in today's busy, fast-paced world. Spaciousness in life is essential for cultivating a sense of peace, clarity, and balance. It involves creating physical, mental, and emotional space, allowing you to breathe, think, and feel more freely. In a cluttered environment, whether that's a messy room or a hectic schedule, you can often feel overwhelmed and stressed. By decluttering your surroundings and simplifying your commitments, you reduce distractions and gain more control over your life. Mentally, spaciousness allows you to process your thoughts and emotions more effectively. It provides the room needed to reflect, gain insights, and make thoughtful decisions. Emotionally, spaciousness helps you manage stress and maintain a sense of calm, fostering resilience and well-being. It enhances creativity and productivity. With fewer distractions, you can focus better and think more clearly, leading to innovative ideas and efficient work. It also promotes better relationships, as you can be more present and attentive with others when you're not constantly preoccupied. Spaciousness is crucial for a balanced and fulfilling life. It helps you prioritise what truly matters, enhancing your well-being and enabling you to live more intentionally and joyfully. In all the episodes I've recorded, which is 411 now, how many times do you think the word spaciousness has been mentioned? Would you believe that before Clare, only one other guest spoke of spaciousness, and that was Catherine Morgan back in episode 211, Stepping into Wealth, where she shared that spaciousness meant everything to her and tied all the strands of her life together. I focused on how this one word can be impactful and significant in my Reflections with Actions episode 214. So how can a word that signifies so much be spoken of so little? It really surprised me when I checked who'd spoken of it before, or who hadn't spoken of it before, essentially pretty much everybody. So I'm super grateful to Clare for raising it again in this conversation. Personally, I see spaciousness and purpose as being deeply intertwined, each enhancing the other to create a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Spaciousness provides the environment and mindset needed to create and pursue one's purpose, while a clear purpose drives the choices that lead to a spacious, uncluttered life. This dynamic relationship enhances overall life satisfaction and meaningful engagement with the world. What does spaciousness mean to you, and how do you embrace it? Next up is episode 409, Turn the Tide with Monty Halls. Monty is a broadcaster, speaker, naturalist, former Royal Marine, marine biologist, travel writer and leadership specialist. His experience covers over 2 decades of leading teams in some of the most remote environments on Earth, presenting wildlife and adventure documentaries and working with blue chip companies both in the UK and overseas. Are you asking longer life questions? What are you passionate about? And how well do you adapt to challenges? In our conversation, Monty dived deep into the high standards of military life, the challenges of screen addiction in children, and the reasons behind his focus on empowering the next generation to protect the planet. Monty's journey from adventure seeker to conservation advocate inspires you to embrace life's pivotal moments with gratitude and resilience. Urging you to reflect on the vast, unpredictable journey that is life, Monty demonstrates the importance of making conscious life choices, of your attitude, of resetting, and of taking control of pretty much any situation, saying that there's always a way if you are to turn the tide. Now, there is a personal backstory for me as to why I reached out to invite Monty onto the podcast. In 2009, I watched a BBC TV programme called Monty Hall's Great Escape. Turning his back on city life to rebuild a crofter's cottage on the west coast of Scotland, Monty embraced a humble lifestyle with his dog. I was so spellbound by this idyllic idea of escaping far from the bustle of modern life. My daughter even checked to make sure I wasn't entertaining thoughts of uprooting our lives to pursue such a dream. Though I wasn't, it had planted a seed to escape to a more serene lifestyle in the future. In 2019, I briefly met Monty after attending his talk on the elemental forces of success, vision, drive, resilience and belief. Stressing the importance of values being the still point in a turning world, Monty challenged the audience to reflect on the driving force and source of our pride, our identity, reminding us that possibilities are endless and that our limits are, like our fears, largely an illusion. Sharing the sentiment that attitude is a difference between an ordeal and an adventure, he emphasised that attitude is a choice. My late grandfather, who I co-authored my book with, taught me from an early age never to leave things unsaid and to always express gratitude by writing to those who've inspired me to take action. So in April this year, I reached out to thank Monty for inspiring me on these 2 occasions, sharing that he'd made such an impression on me that I'd even closed out my book reflecting on the impact of these moments. After an exchange of messages, Monty and I recorded this podcast, and he spoke of the importance of making conscious life choices, of your attitude, of resetting, and of taking control of pretty much any situation, saying that there's always a way. He described how the last 10 years have been very turbulent, adding that all of us carry a mark from those times. However, he also said, don't underestimate the positive impact that has had on you. It has made us all more resilient, more flexible. We're tougher now than we were 10 years ago. In every moment, recognise that it is your attitude that will determine what happens in the future, and that your attitude is a choice. Your future is determined by this choice, so choose wisely. What choices do you need to make today to determine a more purposeful future? In my book, there's an entire chapter focused on choice. In fact, choice runs throughout the whole book. And Monty said that there's always a way, and that sometimes you've just got to figure it out. Well, it comes back to what I shared earlier about taking personal responsibility, for stepping up and making the difference. If we all thought we couldn't affect change, then nothing would ever change. Change begins with the individual, and it starts when you realise that you have the power to do something about what really matters to you. Monty is now at the stage of life where he feels he has to do the right thing by himself, by his children, his family, and by his planet. This is his gift to his children. And with this clear lens, his focus is centred on purposeful action to create a legacy. Focused on the next generation and how he can help them to turn the tide, he ensures they feel supported with this enormous task that awaits them. Monty also spoke about how children are currently at the heart of a great experiment. Well, it's not great. It's about how they've become addicted to screens. Companies are purposely designing content which will keep their attention as it drives financial profit for them. Monty said that 1 in 4 teenagers are now clinically addicted to screens. I'm not sure which specific research he was referring to. However, my own internet search revealed to me that there is mounting evidence that this is fast becoming a real issue to mental health for children. One article in The Independent dated 22nd of May 2024 reported that a mental health emergency is hitting young people around the world. The article highlights the evidence presented by social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. He said that when new consumer products are found to be dangerous, especially for children, we recall them and keep them off the market until the manufacturer corrects the design. In 2010, teens, parents, schools, even tech companies didn't know that smartphones and social media had so many harmful effects. Now we do. Now we have more than a decade of evidence to indicate that there is a tangible link between screen time and poor mental health, with Haidt saying that 40% of teenage girls who spend over 5 hours on social media a day have been diagnosed with clinical depression. The companies had done little or no research on the mental health effects of the products on children and adolescents, and they shared no data with researchers studying the health effects. When faced with growing evidence that their products were harming young people, they mostly engaged in denial, obfuscation, and public relations campaigns. I remember watching Netflix documentary on social media in 2020. It was called The Social Dilemma, and I was terrified at the damage that is being caused on society. Tristan Harris, who worked as a design ethicist at Google, explained how the social media platforms were designed to nurture addiction and maximize profit, manipulating people's views, emotions, and behavior. As I say, terrifying and incredibly sobering to learn what's going on here. Tristan shared in the program, in the documentary, and I remember noting it down at the time. He said, "It's not about technology being the existential threat. It's technology's ability to bring out the worst in society, and the worst in society being the existential threat." Tristan, like many others involved in the origination of platforms, has now moved into campaigning against the negative mental, civic, and public health impacts of social media. Again, like many things in life, when you see other people doing it, you think it's okay. Well, often or sometimes it's not, and the detrimental effects need to be made more widely known. So what can you do? Once again, it comes down to taking personal responsibility. It's never too late to make a change. I know this, Monty knows this. How about you? My final reflection stays with mental health in the form of episode 410, Mental Strength, with Lorna Davies and Jack McGill, twin sisters working with an aligned purpose. Together, they're the visionary founders of Wise for My Size, and they champion children's mental health and well-being. Leveraging their diverse backgrounds in health and education, they sought to overhaul the status quo to children's mental health. Their frustration with the wait-and-see approach ignited a mission to transform children's mental health through storytelling, life coaching and play. They envisioned a proactive world where mental strength, emotional literacy and resilience were the norm. Their dedication delivered the Wise for My Size children's coaching program, empowering children with essential life skills. Lorna and Jack epitomise innovation, leaving an enduring legacy in children's mental health and inspiring others to join the Wise for My Size revolution. Is your child struggling with fear, anxiety or peer pressure? Committed to improving children's mental health, building resilience, encouraging growth, Lorna and Jack are actively transforming anxiety into confidence. With proactive prevention, such as explaining the role of the fight, flight, freeze responses to children, they enhance self-awareness and empower young minds. Changing the landscape of children's mental health and well-being, Lorna and Jack's holistic perspective combines both physical and mental strength. It goes to show the power of a purposeful focus. Their work is already rippling through generations as they work with the children. All those around them are also receiving benefits. And what I want to focus on is how they combine the body with the mind, and that it should never have been separated, but somehow along the lines of building a medical model, it did. Looking into the history of how this separation occurred, I discovered that the separation of the body and mind in terms of health is a historical and philosophical development that has influenced medical practice and understanding. In ancient times, many cultures, including Greek, Chinese and Indian, had a holistic view of health, seeing the body and mind as interconnected. For example, traditional Chinese medicine treated the mind and body as a single entity. The significant shift towards separating the mind and body in Western thought can be traced back to the 17th century with the philosopher René Descartes. Descartes' theory of dualism proposed that the mind and body are two distinct entities, with the mind being non-physical and the body being physical. This dualistic review greatly influenced Western medicine and philosophy. Then, during the 19th and early 20th centuries, medical science advanced significantly, focusing on physical and biological aspects of health. This period saw the development of germ theory, advances in surgery, and the discovery of antibiotics. The emphasis was on observable, measurable aspects of health, which led to a more compartmentalised view of the body and mind. The rise of medical specialisation further contributed to the separation. Different medical fields emerged, focusing on specific parts of the body or particular diseases, often neglecting the holistic approach. Psychiatry and psychology developed as separate disciplines to address mental health, while other medical fields focused on physical health. Medical education and healthcare institutions often mirrored this separation, with distinct training programs, departments and treatment protocols for physical and mental health. This structural division reinforced the conceptual separation of body and mind. In more recent decades, there's been a growing recognition of the interconnectedness of the body and mind. Research in areas like psychoneuroimmunology, the biopsychosocial model, and holistic medicine highlights the interplay between mental and physical health. This shift is slowly influencing modern medical practices, encouraging a more integrated approach to health and well-being. Understanding this historical context helps explain why the separation between body and mind occurred, and underscores the importance of reintegrating these aspects for comprehensive healthcare. Ultimately, we are not heads on sticks. Our body and our mind are fully connected, and the stigma that has been prevalent with speaking of mental health as opposed to physical health is hopefully completely on its way out. Understanding the connection between body and mind is crucial for a fulfilling, healthy life, and a sense of purpose is a powerful bridge between the two. Purpose profoundly influences mental and physical health, fostering harmony and balance. It injects meaning into life, fueling motivation and resilience, and helping alleviate feelings of aimlessness and depression. A clear sense of direction reduces stress levels and enables more effective stress management, providing a consistent framework for decision-making. that fosters emotional stability and overall psychological well-being. People with purpose are more likely to engage in healthy behaviours like regular exercise, balanced nutrition, sufficient sleep, while also avoiding risky behaviours. Purpose positively impacts immune function, enhancing the body's ability to fight off illnesses. Studies show that individuals with a clear sense of purpose tend to live longer and enjoy greater physical vitality. This alignment of thoughts, feelings, and actions creates harmony between mental focus and physical activities, providing a robust framework for dealing with challenges, increasing resilience, and the ability to bounce back from difficulties. Purpose is a vital link that integrates the body and mind. It promotes healthy lifestyle choices, supports mental and emotional well-being, enhances resilience, and leads to a more fulfilling and balanced life. The work that Lorna and Jack are doing helps empower the next generation to know that they have the tools needed to love themselves even more, to have the confidence and build a strong sense of self-worth. They focus on possibility and potential rather than feeling powerless. Autonomy is the heart of all of this, to know, feel, and articulate emotions. Again, it's about the choice of attitude, taking personal responsibility, shifting your perspective and lens whenever needed, navigating transitions in life, continuing to grow and learn, to stay and keep curious, and to embrace transformation. How has this conversation had an impact on you? What value have you received from tuning in? What are your reflections with actions? Please take a moment to leave me an Apple Podcast or Spotify review sharing how Focus on Why has made a difference to you today. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. To keep it going, simply connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, or join the Focus on Why Facebook group. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.